Welcome to Neural Nexus Podcast, where we explore the hottest topics shaping the world. Let's dive in.
Okay, so today we're gonna look into something kind of heavy, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a moment in American history that has a lot of people concerned, and we're gonna be looking at a YouTube video by Senator Bernie Sanders.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's called "A Sad Moment in American History."
Okay.
So basically, we're gonna be talking about the former president and
Okay.
and his stance on Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a big deal.
Yeah, it's making waves both here and in other countries.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, so right away, right, Senator Sanders points out this thing where the former president seems to view Putin as like a close friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Putin, I mean, we all know Putin's not exactly
Yeah.
known for being a champion of democracy.
Yeah, not really known for that, no.
No, not at all. And at the same time,
Right.
the former president has been kind of pushing away
Yeah.
America's longtime allies.
Right. Right. And that's what's so, I guess, striking about this is
Yeah.
like it seems like just a difference of opinion, right?
Mhm.
But it actually like really impacts democracies around the world.
Yeah.
You know? So like when a powerful country like the US is appearing to side with an authoritarian figure, it's almost like they're saying
Yeah.
that they're okay with it.
Right?
And that undermines all these pro-democracy movements that are happening.
Especially in places where those movements are like
Yeah.
really fragile.
Exactly. Yeah, it's almost like they're saying that those democratic values aren't as important anymore, and
Oh.
that's a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. And Senator Sanders doesn't just
Yeah.
like talk about this in a general way.
Mhm.
He brings up specific examples
Oh, okay.
of the former president's statements about the war in Ukraine.
Okay.
And some of them are just straight up not true.
Really?
Yeah. So like one example
Mhm.
is the former president saying Ukraine started the war,
Oh, wow.
which like ignores the fact that Russia invaded Ukraine twice.
Right.
First in 2014 and then again in 2022.
Right. Yeah, those were very real invasions.
Yeah,
It's not like Ukraine just decided to,
Right.
attack Russia.
Exactly. And then there's this other claim
Mhm.
where the former president says that America is giving 3 times as much aid to Ukraine as Europe is.
Oh, I've heard that.
But if you look at the actual numbers, Europe is given more.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's not just about like the amount of aid,
Right.
but also the types of aid that they're giving.
Oh, okay.
So like Europe is really focusing on humanitarian assistance.
So like helping refugees and rebuilding stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the U.S. is also giving aid to those things,
Mm-hmm.
but we're sending more military aid.
I see. So it's about different approaches and priorities.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then there's this part of the video that's just like,
Yeah.
whoa.
What is it?
So Senator Sanders says that the former president called Zelensky,
Okay.
the president of Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
he called him a dictator.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Which is crazy because Zelensky won his election with like 75% of the vote.
Yeah.
And even with the war going on, he's more popular
Right.
than the former president ever was.
I mean, it shows you how different they are.
Yeah.
You've got Zelensky, who was chosen by the people,
Yeah.
and then to call him a dictator.
Yeah.
I mean, it just completely ignores how democracy works. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he's trying to undermine the whole idea of a legitimate election.
Yeah, totally.
It's worrying.
Yeah. And to give you an even better idea of how different they are,
Okay.
Senator Sanders talked about what it's like to
Mhm.
actually live under Putin's rule.
Okay.
And it's not pretty.
I bet.
So Putin, he wins every election with like 90% of the vote.
90%. Come on. That's
Yeah.
not even believable.
Yeah, it's totally rigged and the media is controlled by the government.
Oh, wow. So no free press?
Nope. And if you even try to speak out against Putin,
Uh-oh.
you get arrested.
Really?
Yeah, they've put people like Alexei Navalny in prison.
Wow, I've heard of him. He's like a big opposition leader, right?
Yeah, and tons of Russians are fleeing the country.
It sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's a totally different world over there.
Yeah, it really makes you think about freedom of speech
Mhm.
and, like having a government that you can actually hold accountable.
Exactly. And those are the things that make a democracy work.
Yeah, and that's why this whole thing with the former president is so worrying,
Hmm.
because if he's admiring Putin's style of leadership,
Yeah,
it makes you wonder what he would do if he had that kind of power.
right. That's a scary thought.
It is. It really is.
So it's not just about Putin, though, right?
Right.
Senator Sanders also talks about the oligarchs.
Ah, yes, the oligarchs.
Who are they again?
Well, basically, they're like these super rich people in Russia.
Okay.
They have a ton of power,
Mm-hmm.
both in politics and in the economy.
Okay.
They're often in industries where there's not much competition, and they have very cozy relationships with the government.
So they're like Putin's buddies.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a system where a few people get to benefit
Yeah.
while everyone else suffers.
That doesn't sound good.
It's not.
So how does that whole system actually work?
Well, Putin stays in charge. He lets the oligarchs get super rich.
Okay.
And they do that by basically exploiting the country's resources.
Wow.
Yeah, and they get away with it because there's no transparency
Mhm.
and no accountability.
Right. It's just like a free-for-all for them.
Pretty much.
And that really hurts democracy, right?
Absolutely. It takes all the power and wealth
Yeah.
and puts it in the hands of a few people.
Right. And everyone else is just left out.
Exactly.
So after watching this video by Senator Sanders,
Yeah.
it really makes you think,
Mm-hmm.
like, what does all this mean for democracy?
Right.
Not just in America, but everywhere.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is, and I don't know if there's an easy answer.
I don't think so either.
But I think it's important for all of us to, stay informed and pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, we can't just bury our heads in the sand.
Exactly. We need to be critical thinkers
Yeah.
and really think about what we value in our leaders.
I agree. We have to ask ourselves what kind of world we want to live in.
Yeah.
And then we have to make choices that reflect those values.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, well, thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
It's my pleasure.
And thanks to all of you for listening.
And remember to stay curious out there.
We'll see you next time. Bye.